This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It is Friday. We made it, y'all. March 26th. I'm Tori here with Lindsay and Brandon. Good to see you both.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We made it. All right, let's get started. Everywhere you look, there are headlines about President Biden's very first press conference. The president talked about his vaccination rollout, the surge of migrants at the border, and his own re-election campaign in 2024, when he will be 81 years old. But a lot of news media focused in on the president's notes that you see here. Some are saying he, quote, cheated, and despite having them, he still lost his train of thought at times. So if you missed it, here is one example that's being pointed out. Take a look.
How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
Well, I'm good. Look, when I took office, I decided that it was a fairly basic, simple proposition.
So DBL Nation, we want to know what you think. Is this cause for concern, or is this politically motivated ageism? So we want you to go to dblvote.com. If you've never watched with us before, this is where you can interact with us to tell us what you think. So it'll stay up there as we talk. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, it's a little cause for concern, Tori, because when he was running for president, he was talking about how he could out-push up someone. And I think there was even the arm wrestle thing, but that was more of a physical thing. What we're seeing there could be a mental thing. And for the first time, I really understand that narrative where people were saying where he is a Trojan horse for the Democratic Party to push more progressive policies for Kamala Harris in 2024. I did not, after watching that press conference, Tori Lindsay, I did not think that man will be mentally fit to run for president in 2024.
Do you feel like he's mentally fit right now?
I think he can get away with a lot right now, but
that's fair.
For 3 years down the road, I just see that deteriorating a little bit more.
A lot of people feel that way, Lindsay.
I think he has to just lean into his age, like, you know, with the, no, for real, because he was running up the steps, you know, and fell down 3 times or however many times. And then you're talking about like the arm wrestling. It's everything he's doing to prove that he's not his age. And like, there are many wise 81-year-olds that I've met and come across, and like, they do talk slowly, but they're so wise. So it's just like, just lean into it and kind of lead in a way that you're comfortable with, not that the way the press is looking for you to lead, and maybe we'll find a happy medium, because I really don't think that he's losing his mind or not mentally stable. And so I think that maybe if he just accepts kind of the slowing down and really thinking through stuff, then maybe he won't look like he's trying to stutter and rush through things so much.
Lindsay, you can slow it down, but if you're messing up a cheat sheet, when he was talking about the infrastructure, you know, China's infrastructure versus our infrastructure, I believe China's was like 85, and you can see he said like 14 or 15. That's a big difference between slowing it down and just getting something completely wrong.
It's fair. It's fair to question a president always. I say no matter what side of the aisle on, you're allowed to question the top person that we elected, right? I have some comments here. Our president should not need notes for a press conference, but Citizen says criticizing a public speaker using notes. This is from Citizen. POTUS stood there for more than an hour and answered every question with reality-based facts. Jan said, look, he came prepared with a briefing book, not just winging it with some random thoughts in his head. How nice to have a president with facts and figures. And I will just say, it's interesting presidents, because they're not always Obama orators or Ronald Reagan, right? Sometimes they have problems and weaknesses. And in the FDR Memorial in D.C., there's 4 large parts of it, and you walk through, and in the end is the tiniest wheel, because he was in a wheelchair and it's hidden, because he didn't really put out that he had polio and was in a wheelchair. So when we talk about Biden not being able to get up the stairs, at some point, this president could get us through to depression without ever standing. But you see ways that they kind of hide it better or don't let you know, like JFK in his back. It was terrible, right? So maybe he needs to work on hiding it a bit.
That was before social media. You can't hide anything these days.
Yeah, it is really hard.
It is hard. All right, final vote is 31% say
ageism.
69% say ageism. The other, 32% say cause for concern. Interesting. 69%, 32% cause for concern. All right. Well, keep writing us in. You've not probably heard about this next story. We've got new details on how it could directly affect you. You've seen the picture. A giant container ship that's the size of a skyscraper has gotten stuck in the Suez Canal. It feels like a lot of us, I think. The ship, called the Ever Given, which is ironic, got stuck after being caught in a wind and sandstorm that caused very poor visibility. Efforts to free the ship haven't worked, and now they're saying it could take weeks to move more than 700,000 cubic feet of sand to get it free. Wow. Experts are saying it could affect just about everything you see in a store, including leading to another toilet paper shortage. About 12% of global trade moves through this canal. It could also affect your gas, which could go up as more and more ships carrying crude oil are stuck in the traffic jam. Just what we need.
I'm so tired of the grocery store aisles being empty.
I know.
I mean, it's like, okay, I understand when it was the beginning of the pandemic and everybody was freaking out, but like recently you're just trying to get one thing and it's like, huh? Can't get honey? So like this did not make me happy to see. But I really hope that they figure it out, because gas prices going up affect everybody. I know everybody is in different situations, and so like the $4 prices that I saw, I do not want to see.
Yeah, the backup is like hundreds of ships are stuck because this one huge mammoth one can't get through. Don't you think they would have thought that maybe a sandstorm, like maybe this would have happened. I'm not an engineer.
When I think of the ship trying to back up and reverse, I think of like Austin Powers. Remember when he was in the golf cart trying to back up to turn? But I just don't understand. 50 ships go through this canal per day, and it's been there for decades now. So I don't understand how the visibility could turn a ship like that. And throw it off course like that. But I want to ask you, what's the one household thing? What's the one household thing you guys can't wait weeks for?
Toilet paper.
Yeah, I know you got to manage.
Other than toilet paper, like because I go through paper towels like it's nobody's
Paper towels,
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to not use as much paper towel because I use a lot.
Right. We can all live without all these things, right? People have in the past before.
Very good point. Way to put a button on that. All right, well, a Georgia man is making headlines. He said his former employer at an auto workshop owed him his final paycheck. Okay, it was $950. Well, he got it, but not as you might expect. He says his disgruntled boss left 90,000 pennies at the end of his driveway at night, which was weird, along with a crude note. What's worse, the pennies were also covered in some sort of oil or grease. The man's boss was asked about it. He said he couldn't remember if he paid in pennies. Must do this a lot, but it didn't matter since he got his money. So what do y'all think? Is this the ultimate payback, or is this vindictive and cruel?
We talk about representation. There's a reason she's laughing like that, because this is Lindsey Granger type petty right here.
I tell everybody, listen, I'm a nice person, but I'm at least 10% petty. It doesn't matter.
Really?
I literally do not like to play games with people, and so if you do play games, I might play games back with
So you like this?
So I think this is hilarious. I don't think an employer who's the leader in a situation should do that, right? As somebody who owns a business, I would never do that to somebody. I've had incidents where it didn't go as planned, and I would never try to slight them because you're the leader. But as somebody who's just like, I don't know what type of rapport they had, maybe they were friends, this is hilarious.
You wouldn't be that petty?
I wouldn't do that as a boss. Come on, that's ridiculous. So, he's a boss. A company name is more important to me than
because this is going viral. That's
I would
true.
do that to you.
Yeah.
If I owed you money, I would do that to you.
Owe me?
I will
Get
say
a Crown Royale bag full of pennies and quarters.
I will say, when I saw this, I thought this makes no sense.
At all?
Sense.
Get it?
Oh, get it.
Okay, that didn't work. But I will say, when I read it into them, they're going through each penny and they're actually finding really early pennies. She's like, we're not going to let this bother us for 1 second. This is the wife of the man who got the pennies. And they said, we're enjoying ourselves. We found a 1937 penny. So they said, we're not going to let this rain on our parade at all.
They're taking the Buddhism approach. That would be you. So if I ever did that to you, I know that I'm not going to get the response I'm looking for.
It's money. Although I do have a strong argument against the penny. But I don't think anyone wants to hear that because it's very boring.
I hate the penny. We should get rid of it.
I agree completely.
We should get rid of it.
Coming up on DBL, male infertility. Most guys don't want to open up about it, but we're talking with one father who's hoping to change that. Plus, kiss and tell on TikTok. We'll show you why a comedian is ranking a former fling on the popular social media app. Coming up.
Closed captioning provided by
Most businesses are allowed to welcome back 75 to 100% of their customers today. So why are bars stuck at 50%? Let's connect the dots. Throughout the pandemic, bars have been the last place where North Carolina eases restrictions. Customers were not even allowed inside until a month ago. And even then, crowds have been extremely limited at just 30% capacity. Experts say bars can be a breeding ground for the virus. Let's be honest, after having a few drinks, social distancing gets more difficult. People are also talking louder, laughing, or even singing, all of which can easily spread the virus in the air. But the governor is trying to cut bars some slack. He's increasing max capacity slightly from 30 to 50%. One thing that's going to make a big difference, no more alcohol curfew. Bars may have fewer customers, but they'll be able to serve more drinks, with last call moving back to 2 a.m. And that is Connecting the Dots.
to DBL. Big shout out to our coworkers tuning in from home during the pandemic. We miss you guys so much. I can't even wait. Did you see Anthony there?
Yeah.
I haven't hugged Anthony
Someone
forever.
did the double wave.
It's a good time with the double wave. All right. A British comedian is going viral on TikTok after he posted, yes, a sex survey he actually received. It was from a woman he recently had relations with. Have a look.
A girl sent me a Google Docs form and she wants feedback on her performance in bed. So it'd be rude not to fill it out, really, wouldn't it? How good was she? 1 being just embarrassing, 5 being porn star material. I'd say a 3. Yeah, a 3. And then we've got who did most of the work, and I'll be honest, she did. She did. I was a bit lazy, so yourself, her. I'll give her that one.
I don't hate this if you're a type A and need feedback. Is that bad?
So I don't think that this is not bad. I don't think that she likes this guy particularly a lot, but she probably wants to like somebody else more and wants to get herself prepared to be her present her top self.
So why get feedback from him? He didn't even do anything the entire time.
Because it's always good to get feedback, no, from anyone, just to hear how was my performance. Is this wrong?
No,
it's like, come on.
No. In the wake of the Me Too movement, I get it. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there right now. But I don't think we should put stuff like that out right now.
Oh my gosh, come on, Brandon.
Am I being square? Am I being square right now?
Come on now.
I think so.
You know, if somebody sent you that, you would start hysterically laughing.
And you would fill it out well.
Offended, okay?
Yeah,
so just please stop.
Page 1.
I mean, and I would like to ask our audience, if you are type A, like I have a Kelly Schuberth. I'm not saying she would do this. No, I'm not.
Kelly.
No, I'm not Kelly. But I'm saying she's a really type A person who needs a lot of feedback in order for her to feel fulfilled and to understand, and for her knowledge is power. And I wonder for this woman, if she's like trying to up her game a little bit. I have nothing wrong with it. As an athlete,
right? You're not going to ask somebody who you're like head over heels with and you just met and trying to show your best self. You're not going to ask that person, but she asked this guy. Obviously, she thinks he's cool. Maybe they have a casual relationship.
Well, we're talking about athletic feedback compared to sexual feedback. There's no combine. There's no NFL combine for sex.
It's true.
Right, but I'm just the only thing I think, like when I looked at this, I look at that as a consent form. You know, I'm sorry, I had to go down that way of thinking before I just come out and just start talking about sex. But I look at it as a consent form, because if she sent it, that means it was consensual sex.
I hypothesize we will have apps of consent that we all fingerprint by, like, for dates.
I saw that on a show before.
I think so.
Kind of alarmed.
And then you get the Uber experience. Rate my sex.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, guys. Well, apparently you don't have to work out that hard at the gym, because there's a new survey by dating.com, and it reveals that 75% of singles prefer so-called dad bods, or partners with a soft belly. I love those two words together, as opposed to someone with hard abs. Some experts suggest that during lockdown, many people become less active and gained weight, so are now more accepting of softer bodies. I just think if you have really 8-pack or 12-pack or whatever the pack is, because I don't have a pack, that you spend so much time on that there's like ego in there, and like it's a lot of narcissism. That's a judgment on me, because I'm judging you. I don't have the pack. But does that make sense? It's like if you're that guy, you're going to be at the gym or woman all the time.
Right, because I judge that person by one person that I know like that, and I'm like, oh my God, you're in the mirror more than I have to be to get ready for a television show. You're annoying. And so, you know, like, but to me, I don't think it matters as much. Like, most people, you see them with their boyfriends, I don't see their shirts off unless they're at the beach. Like, I'm assuming everybody doesn't have an 8-pack, like, unless they play professional sports. You know, I don't know. To me,
but do you prefer an 8-pack or not?
No, Colin obviously doesn't have an 8-pack.
So cute.
I'm just calling everybody out on the show
and I love
today.
Colin.
Colin's the best. I love his soft body.
That sense of discipline isn't sexy to y'all, for someone to, because the abs aren't about your workout. The abs are about your diet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that sense of discipline, that is,
I would love to be healthy and walk together and do stuff, but I don't care if you have that much discipline, because for me in that arena, I don't have that much discipline.
I also think that if you're doing a lot of like smoothies, because clearly you're doing like a lot in the kitchen, you're absolutely right. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not a smoothie like spinach.
So not
person.
compatible.
So to be honest, that would be a lot of time that we wouldn't be able to spend, and I'm a very codependent person.
You should work out together. That's time to spend together.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh,
what
man.
a fun time.
To work
that'll
on
be.
your 12-packs.
Yeah, work on that. All right, coming up on DBL, male infertility. It's touchy, right? But one father is hoping to change that by sharing his experience publicly. We're going to talk to him next. Stay tuned.
There's not a lot of hard data yet on the rise in children's weight during the last year, but according to NPR, doctors across the country are reporting signs of worrisome weight gain. The reason behind the trend isn't a big mystery. Kids have lost out on gym classes, playgrounds, and turned to comfort foods, just like adults. Some also missed out on yearly checkups with a doctor. It can be tricky for parents to address weight issues with children, and according to the experts, the best tactic might be to do less talking and more setting a good example. Talking to kids about the risks of diabetes and heart disease is usually not effective, but doing things like exercising yourself and inviting them to tag along and stocking the house with healthy food helps. There is another factor parents might want to face: screen time. A lot of parents eased up on restrictions when the pandemic hit. Doctors now say it could be time to reinforce limits. The good news is doctors predict when our routines return to normal, kids should bounce back.
Welcome back to DBL. You don't often hear men talk about infertility, right? True. But John Waldman is trying to change that. He's written a book about his own struggles, and earlier he was very open with Jeff and Sam about he hopes his story will help others.
John, thank you for sharing your story with us today. So tell us about you and your wife's journey to conceive. When did you realize that you might be the one dealing with a fertility issue?
We started trying to conceive in 2008, and it took about 9 months for us to conceive for the first time. Unfortunately, about 8 weeks into the pregnancy, we lost the baby. At that point, we felt that we were enough ahead that we were able to start going in for some testing, and they determined that it was a mix of male and female factor infertility.
So John, I'm 42 years old and I have a lot of friends struggling with this very same issue, but we aren't used to hearing about men who struggle with fertility. How did it affect you personally?
For me, it was a lot of mental health issues. I was already predisposed to issues starting from high school. It really hit hard. You're not able to do something that you ordinarily would do without issue, without assistance. It really starts to hammer on your sense of self.
The title of your book, Swimming Aimlessly, gives some comic relief to this whole conversation, right? Because it's hard to talk about, but I think right off the bat, it makes you an easier guy to talk about, like, oh, this guy gets it, he gets what every man is going through with this, and it makes it a little easier to talk about. So you nailed it with the title right there.
I pulled from my love of Seinfeld and George Costanza's utterance of "my boys can swim," so I played off that, and
I'm a father! I did it! My boys can swim!
Whenever you're approaching a topic like this, whether it's something like infertility or other health conditions, you really want to make sure that people are comfortable and they're feeling safe and they feel like they're talking to somebody, not just having a bunch of stats and figures thrown at them.
Your transparency is so refreshing, and your title and you are so relatable. So you and your wife welcomed a beautiful baby girl just over 5 years ago. What advice do you have for couples, and especially men going through this right now? What would you tell our viewers?
The most important thing to do is to talk, to have those conversations as hard as they are. Yes, it'll be emotional. Yes, like me, you'll probably break down during those first conversations, but it's so important to do and to know what it is that you are willing to do, whether it is to go through procedures like IVF and IUI, whether it's to look instead straight to adoption or surrogacy, etc. The most important thing is to have that path and to know that what you are doing is right for both of you.
comforting and powerful words, John. Thank you. To our viewers, John's book, Swimming Aimlessly, One Man's Journey Through Infertility and What We Can All Learn From It, comes out on March 30th. You can find details at simonandschuster.com. Thank you again, John, for sharing your story. So powerful. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The situation we're describing is called a breakthrough case. It's when somebody gets sick despite being vaccinated against an illness. So our question is, have there been any reports of people getting COVID-19 after being vaccinated? Our sources are the CDC and infectious disease doctor David Priest.
The expectation can't be with any vaccine that there's not a single case that arises.
And we do see that in the numbers. While more formal research is underway to track breakthrough cases, the CDC does have a database where clinicians can report them, and we checked it. Right now, there are 25 reports of people in North Carolina who got a COVID shot and later got the virus. But after looking at each report in detail, we found only 3 who were considered fully vaccinated when they tested positive. So why might these 3 cases have happened?
There's a unique interaction between the vaccine and the individual's immune system and how well they respond to it. How well do they make antibodies? How well do their T cells respond?
Priest says even with breakthrough cases, the vaccine could still be working by making symptoms milder and, more importantly, cutting down on chances of hospitalization and death. By the way, the 3 cases we found were 79 years or older, and 2 of them had underlying conditions. While all 3 did go to the hospital, the reports say none of them died. So we can verify, yes, there have been cases of people getting COVID-19 after being vaccinated, but these are very rare instances. In fact, we found 3 cases out of more than 1.5 million completed vaccine series in North Carolina. With your Verify, I'm Vanessa Rufus.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to maintaining your health, exercise is key to strength and functioning as you age. We're going to chat about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. There's a new study examined women between the ages of 65 and 80, and half were on high-protein diets. The other half exercised. It found that both are beneficial, but when it comes to physical strength, exercise had a much bigger impact. When it comes to staying active, QB is changing the way the world thinks about fitness, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-730-3397 or visit QB.com to learn more.
I want to try that under the desk elliptical on a show. You think that could be done?
Yeah, and you know what's funny? This is interesting. My friends who have ADHD kids, At school, their brains are running so fast and their sensory is overloaded. They give them a type of QB so that they can pedal, so that they're working, sort of moving, and then they can focus. It's a great concept for anyone out there if you're dealing with that. My school let the kids take their shoes off and walk and pace because they could ground themselves on the ground and like learn from pacing.
And since Brandon made us all feel bad about not working out, we can get that just for us to have.
I don't want to. Look, don't think that I have like this six-pack. I have an uncle.
We don't.
I have an uncle bod.
Well, I haven't.
Like,
I don't know, but I'm just guessing because you play sports.
I'm in just enough shape to where my nieces and nephews, like teachers, would be like, "Oh, your uncle's hot."
There you go. Goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home today because of the pandemic. We miss you. All right, DBL's new every day. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place. Have a good weekend, y'all.
Thank you.